The Birtley Belgians emigrated from Belgium to Birtley, County Durham, during World War I to create an armaments factory. The model village of Elizabethville was built in the First World War to house the Belgian workers at the National Projectile Factory, who were making high explosive shells for the army. The huts, as they were known, were envied by many local people, whose housing was of much lower standard. The huts had the luxury of flush toilets and electric lights. There were hostels for single men, and two sizes of furnished cottage with a garden for families. There was great sympathy for the Belgian refugees, and at the same time there was a shortage of munitions. At its peak, Elizabethville had a population of 6,000, of which 1,200 were children. The model village was named after Queen Elizabeth of Belgium. It was self-contained with its own doctors, nurses and teachers. There was a camp cinema, a camp symphony orchestra, brass band and dramatic society. The camp was separated from Birtley by a surrounding fence. Local people were only allowed in on the armistice of the 11th of November 1918 for a torchlight procession. The Belgian school was built in 1915-16. It was designed to last 10 years but stood for nearly 60. St Michael's Church was run by Belgian clergy. It later became the Salvation Army Hall. In 1916, a field adjacent to Lamesley Lane was set aside for a Belgian cemetery. The Belgians left in 1919, and the contents of the huts were sold off. The Daily Mail on the 26th of May 1919 described it as the largest furniture sale on record. The huts were renamed and let by the council. By the 1930s they were dilapidated and were demolished. The streets were replaced by sturdy brick terraces during the 1930s and 40s. The new building has continued into the 2010s, with street names reflecting the area's history.
This is the story of the Birtley Belgians, the shellers from hell, the wandering men and the women they wed. You can say goodbye to your friends. These are the remnants of Elizabethville, the shattered relics of battered soldiers, the shards of savagery, the empty shells of discarded folk. This is what's left of the carnage, the last of the war effort, the smiles of the children and the severed limbs. This is the story of the Birtley Belgians. From Flanders and Wallonia they came, leaving beloved roots behind, to do their bit for the ritual slaughter, to bring up well their sons and daughters, to dance and sing under the hails of bullets. Fishing for sunshine in Iserbrook, kicking stones on the Rue de Charleroi, the Birtley Belgians planted their seed on Durham ground and made do and made explosive dreams. What more can we tell? Home was made for coming from, for dreams of going to, which with any luck will never come true. Sweating in uniform on assembly lines, pulverizing their brains. To keep the powers that be in power, they were strong, and at the same time weak, and screamed and cried like anyone. This is the story of the Birtley Belgians. They're gone now, blown to dust in the festering fields, memories strewn over the way to fertilize another day with the same weary mistakes and thrusts of love. I can see the boys in the Villa de Bruges slaking their frustrated fantasies to drown the horror, and the girls seductive behind the huts in between the grind of daily production. Let me take you up the Boulevard Queen Mary, along the Rue de Louvain, knock on the door of number D2, and blood will pour, and the ground will open up. Mud will take you prisoner and devour all those years. This is the story of the Birtley Belgians. You can hear their singing on the North Sea wind, hear them in Chesterley Street and Liège, the brass band and orchestra drowning out the distant pounding. In and out of trouble, we will always dance. An accordion wails across the little streets, the 3 tones welcomes the living, and at the crack of dawn and in the battlefields of evening clouds we will remember them. And the words of the Walloon poet Camille Fabry proclaim, Our thoughts fly like arrows back to the land of our birth. This is the story of the loss of lives, for causes we scarcely understand, but for love and grandeur too, and for the little Belgian children and the joyous games they play. This is the story of the Birtley Belgians.